Well, it's, obviously, proud of DC. Obviously, it was his last regular season game here at Founders Park, and for him to hit a grand slam is a pretty special night for him, and get 2 hits. And it's something he'll always take away from here, and certainly a good win for our team. Having our 39th win here, and against the Citadel team that's obviously been struggling, but it was an important win because we certainly wanted to go to Tuscaloosa with some momentum, feeling good about ourselves. And we had 16 hits and 16 runs, so offensively, hopefully, our guys are feeling pretty decent about themselves as we go down there for our last regular season SEC series. But all in all, a good win. Caps a great regular season for us at home. I don't know, Andrew, what were we at home?
We lost
34.
34.
Andrew, one of these guys, no, you don't.
I'm still keeping up with the position. 30-4. I had it. I did say 30-4. So yeah, it took me a second.
That was a pretty good regular season at home, and pretty good record there. And hopefully we can play well on the road this weekend. But all in all, we'll get on the bus tomorrow in a good frame of mind, feeling good about ourselves and the way we performed tonight, and hopefully go down there in our last regular season series and play our best baseball.
Questions? David?
I know there are going to be some issues, obviously, the Citadels, but your guys to put up double-digit runs in 2 straight games after what y'all went through, how makes that?
Well, like I said, it makes me feel better, even though there's still. We have some frustrating at bats, and baseball and hitting a baseball is very, very difficult to do. And I certainly want us to have more consistent at bats throughout our lineup. And Jones is still struggling, and it's baffling me. And I'm just telling you that we need a solid Johnny Jones to be the best teammate we can be. That's just my belief, and so we gotta work with him and get him in a better spot. But as a group, as a team, I think our guys have taken a deep breath and a sigh of relief, and feel good about the important games ahead. I certainly like this feeling a lot better than I like the feeling after Saturday's game against A&M. We've had 2 pretty good games offensively. We put up some numbers, and the psychology of this sport is so important. So hopefully our guys are in a good place.
Right.
You talked about the 30-4, but in general, you guys were considerably better, obviously, in midweek games this year. How special was it that you guys took owners and took advantage of that this year?
Well, that's what I told the guys after the game. I said, when you take care of your business in the middle of the week, it's a great characteristic to have because you come to the park every day ready to play. And not all teams do that now. I mean, and I don't know if we did it every time last year. But they came to the park more times than they were ready to go. And no matter the opponent, and that's a good trait, good characteristic to have, that you have a bunch of guys that love to play, like being around each other, and they feel the atmosphere and the vibe in the stadium is a good one, both in the locker room and on the field, so they enjoy it. And when you enjoy it, you come to play the right way every day. And I told them that after the game, that I certainly, as their coach, appreciate that. And they've had good attitudes and all year long. And even the kids that don't play much, they've been a good group. And I think that's meant something from a one-loss standpoint. So that's the characteristic of my team, and they represented themselves very well. And we've had some bumps along the way, but I think that happens in any baseball season. But I hope we've positioned ourselves to play our best, in late May and June. And you'll never know until it's over. But we're decently fresh. We're decently healthy, and I hope they got the right frame of mind to play their best baseball in the most important games, and those are all in front of us. And so I'm hopeful, and I'm confident that we'll play our best baseball.
Matt?
I know Madison had the error at first, but he also made a couple of nice plays. What are your kind of thoughts on that? Do you think that side of the infield might stay the same?
He just probably needs some time over there. He's very, very quick to take his foot off the bag, and that was an error that was just attributed it to the fact that he hadn't been over there much and doesn't know how to footwork standpoint around the bag is a very, very important part of playing first base. And you know, he just hadn't got comfortable with that. But you know, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how we're going to do the infield this weekend. I mean, we'll give it some thought. And, I think I have some pretty good options. I love our team defensively with DC in there. So it's good to see him get a couple good hits today and put some good swings on it. And offensively, I think Madison's a threat, you know, obviously when we put him in the game. And I love LT's grit and toughness. So it's 3 kids, you know, that I kind of want to play, but there's only 2 spots there. So it's just something I like to think about on the bus ride down to Alabama tomorrow. And we'll have a good workout. And obviously, it'll be a difficult decision for me, but all those guys will play, and all those guys will be a part of it. It's just, I don't know right now who's going to start.
Colin?
Jones has always been kind of solid at the plate, but he had a career high hits and RBIs tonight. Just, do you think that he's playing his best baseball?
I think he is, yeah, and I think he had some really good at-bats this weekend against A&M too, and he had some big swings of the bat there, and he's swinging it with a little bit of authority, and he's getting some confidence. He's been a good, solid player for us all year long. He's been an anchor over there at third base from the way he's played defense. He's very sure-handed and accurate throwing arm, and he's made some really good plays for us. And if he's more of a threat or becomes a big-time threat offensively, that certainly helps our team and makes us more formidable. And it's nice to see him have a great night.
Derek?
How important is it for you guys to maintain on that top 4 line as you go into next week in Hoover for your pitching staff especially?
Well, I mean, you just always want to finish as high as you can, and you know, you finish in the top 4 in the league is a great accomplishment. And you finish in the middle of the league, you can still win the national championship. I say that all the time. I think Arkansas last year finished in the middle of the pack when they were in the College World Series, and there's been others as well. But it is nice to get a bye, and we'll certainly got work to do to get into that spot, and some of it will be determined by what happens in other games. But we're just going to go down there and worry about ourselves and try to play the best that we can and put ourselves in the best position to win the first game on Thursday night. And worry about all that other stuff come Saturday afternoon, you know, and see where we stand. And I've tried to instill that approach in our players, and I hope they won't read all the other stuff and pay attention to all the numbers and the records and to what is. So that'll take away from playing their best baseball. If we just go down there and worry about ourselves and try to play well, it'll give us the best chance to have a good weekend.
Matt?
Was it good to see Brandon get his first hit in RBI?
Yeah, I think he got to let a big smile out there, and it was good to see him smile. And it's impressive watching that kid take BP. And the reason I put him in the game today is not just to give him some at-bats. I want to have a formidable offensive team. I want him to get some at-bats. I hadn't mailed it in that the kid's not going to help us down the road this season. And so I needed to get him some. I came that close to starting him, you know, and I just felt like it was. I said, well, no, let's just see how the game gets off to a good. You know, if we get off to a good start, I'll get him in there. And it's good to see him get a few at bats. And Brendan's a good kid, and he loves the sport of baseball. I think he's going to do great things for us, you know, in the future. And I don't know if it'll be this season or next year, but he's certainly a talented athlete, both in football, obviously, and in baseball. And he certainly can help our program. It's good to see him get a good swing on it. He just needs at bats. If he had consistent at bats, I think he'd be one of our better hitters. But I don't know if we can get him enough, you know, for him to be the player that he needs to be this season.
Sounds like TJ's knee injury not as bad as you had originally feared. You know what that portends for him?
Well, at least where we are tonight, he's still a little bit slow to recover. It's still bothersome for him. I don't know if he's going to be available this weekend as I sit here right now. It would be shocking, to be quite honest with you, if he was able to go this weekend. So I'm not going to push the envelope either, because I think he's a big part of things and a big part of our team, and I certainly want him for postseason play. So we'll see. I'll talk to Brandon and our medical staff tonight and in the morning, and we'll make a decision on whether he'll be on the trip or not. before we depart Columbia. But right now, I'm not so optimistic about that as far as the next 3 games.
Okay.
If he doesn't travel, is Brandon a guy that might come in?
There's a lot of, there's a lot of different scenarios there, because we got some pitchers, that are a little bit tender, and we got to figure out how many arms we're going to take. Sometimes it breaks down to 15 position players and 12 arms, and sometimes we go 16 and 11. And I hadn't made that decision yet. It's possible. It's certainly, maybe if it's not this weekend, it's certainly possible for the SEC tournament or the NCAA tournament. But I got to check on some health and injury reports and all that stuff before I make that call. But I do like the fact that Brandon's been aggressive and swinging the bat and gotten a lot better at BP too. So he's certainly in my thoughts